So you want to make bread at home, but every time you look into it, it feels like too much. Too many steps, too many rules, too much to manage on top of an already full life. I get it. And for a long time, bread was something I honestly loved, but treated it like a hobby, and a hobby I didn't have time for. Not a rhythm, not something I thought could be sustainable. But something changed, and that's what I want to share with you today. My husband is from Costa Rica. So in 2012, when he said we're moving to Costa Rica, I didn't hesitate. Honestly, I married the man so I could live there. We were there for about 6 years. Why we moved back, well, that's for another video. But what living there taught me, without me even realizing it was teaching me anything, is that here in the US, we're always trying to get the chores done so we can get to the actual living. Convenience culture sold us on that. Use the dryer instead of the clothesline. Buy bread instead of making it. Drive instead of walk. In Costa Rica, there was no separation like that. The work was just part of living. Hanging the laundry, walking to the store, cooking everything from scratch, that wasn't in the way of the day. That was the day. I felt it in my body. I just didn't have words for it. One night, when I was scrolling Netflix, a series popped up called Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zone. I sat up and thought, hey, that's it. That's exactly the life that I was living. What are blue zones? A researcher named Dan Buettner spent years identifying the 5 places in the world where people consistently live past 100. Not just surviving, but genuinely thriving. He called them blue zones. There's one in Sardinia, Italy, Okinawa, Japan, Nicoya, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, Loma Linda, California. 5 completely different places, different food, different language, different culture, but the same pattern shows up in all of them. And one of the biggest ones, the one that stopped me, wasn't about the diet. It wasn't about supplements or sleep schedules or any of that. It was about movement. If you've never had a life where movement is just woven in, where your body is always doing something because life asks it to, it's hard to know what you're missing. People who live the longest on earth don't exercise. They just never stopped living with their hands. And a lot of them bake their own bread. Not gym movement, not scheduled exercises, just the natural, all day, built-in movement that comes from living a life where your hands and your body are always doing something. Walking to where you need to go, cooking from scratch, hanging laundry, tending a garden, making dough. Their bodies stay active, not because they try, but because their daily life asks them to. And when I heard that, I didn't think, oh, interesting research. I thought, I know exactly what that feels like. And I know exactly what it feels like to lose it. So when we lived in Costa Rica, mornings had a shape to them. All the women on the street moved through the day pretty much in the same quiet rhythm. We would start our days with the laundry. We would either hand wash them or throw them in our semi-automatic washing machines. Then we would wring them out, hang them on the line. Then breakfast, ironing school uniforms, walking the kids to school, coming home to tend to the house, walking back to get them, and then making lunch, resting, starting dinner, bringing clothes in from the line, sweep, mop, shower, bed. It wasn't a wellness routine. Nobody called it self-care. It was just life. And everyone around me was living it the same way, in sync, without thinking about it. And some of my favorite memories are the fruit and vegetable truck that came down our street once or twice a week, like an ice cream truck, but with pineapples, fresh greens, oranges, cheese, sometimes meat. The food came to us. We didn't have to drive anywhere or plan a trip to 3 different stores. Fresh, simple enough. And the older people, they weren't set aside. Their grandmothers were in the kitchen, in the garden, hanging laundry alongside everyone else. Still moving, still needed, still part of the daily life of their family. That, I later learned, is one of the markers researchers noticed in Nicoya, the Costa Rican blue zone. Multi-generational homes, older adults who stay active and purposeful well into their 90s. A pace of life that keeps the body engaged, not through effort, but through living. I didn't know any of that at the time. I just knew that my body felt different there, fuller, more purposeful, like I was participating in my own day instead of just getting through it. Bread there was simple too. Most families didn't have conventional ovens, so their daily bread was tortillas, made fresh by hand every day. Maybe they would go get a baguette from the corner store called the pupuria for afternoon cafecito. Nothing elaborate, just bread as part of the table, not a project to complete. I had an oven, barely. Well, it had two settings, low or high. A lot of the recipes I wrote from that season have no temperatures and no precise bake times. You put it in and you watched it and used your senses. You adjusted. There was no perfectionism. You couldn't. There was no precision. You couldn't. You just had to be present. And a few months after we moved back to Minnesota, I started to feel heavy, off, maybe sick, maybe sad. I don't know. It just was feeling off. And I went on a walk one day to shake it off. And I remember thinking mid-stride, this is so much harder here. Because in Minnesota, I have to try. I have to plan. I have to compartmentalize everything. In Costa Rica, I never had to decide to move. Life was close enough to walk to. The food came to the street, the day had a natural rhythm, and everyone around me was living it. And in Minnesota, the grocery store was miles away with no path to get there. Everything that used to just happen when I was living in Costa Rica now had to be scheduled, driven to, or decided. That's the moment I also realized if I want to feel the way I felt in Costa Rica, that groundedness, that rhythm, that sense of my body actually participating in the day, I was going to have to build it on purpose here. Convenience culture had quietly taken something from me, the structure and movement and purpose that came from doing things the longer way. And when the Blue Zone series came on and I watched people in Nicoya still living that way, I didn't feel like I was learning something new. I felt recognized. So here's where bread comes in. Not bread as a health food, not sourdough as a superfood trend, but bread as a structure for your day or for your week. Think about what actually happens when you bake a loaf at home. You mix your dough, then you walk away and you go live your life. Maybe you're gonna come back and check on it. The bread asks you to come back. You check in on it, you shape it, you preheat your oven and you bake it. Between every one of those steps, you're doing everything else. Laundry, kids, dishes, preparing meals, whatever the day holds. But your body is moving, it's getting up, returning to something with your hands over and over again through the course of the morning or the afternoon or the evening. But not because you scheduled a workout, because the bread asked you to. That is exactly the kind of natural, woven in, all-day movement that the Blue Zone researchers have documented in the world's longest lived communities. It's not dramatic, it's not a fitness plan, it's just doing something with your hands inside the rhythm of a regular day. And here's the question I keep coming back to. What if convenience didn't just save us time? What if it also quietly took away the very movement, structure, and sense of purpose that kept us well? And what if making bread once a week, something so simple, so old, so human, was one small way to take a little of that back? I'm not saying baking bread will make you live to 100, but I'm saying the life that seems to support living well, moving gently all day, doing things by hand, having a rhythm your body can follow, bread fits into that life more naturally than almost anything else I found. And I want to be honest with you about something. I didn't start baking bread because I read a study. I started because I missed the way life felt in Costa Rica. And bread became one of the ways I could bring a little of that rhythm back into my Minnesota kitchen. And some days I hang my laundry outside. Some days I cook everything from scratch. Well, most days. And some days I do neither, because life is full and real, and that's okay. But on bread days, my body moves, my hands are busy, my kitchen smells like something real, and I feel, even if just for a few hours, a little more like the version of myself who lived in Costa Rica. That's what I want for you. Not a bread project, not a hobby you fit in when life slows down, a rhythm, something small and sustainable that belongs in your real week. not outside of it. And the place to start isn't a recipe. It isn't a Dutch oven or starter feeding schedule. It's just knowing where you are right now and what your one next step actually is. So I did make something for you, and it's the free sourdough roadmap. And it's a simple 5-step path that shows you exactly where you are in the bread journey right now and what your next step is. Not a course, not a commitment, just clarity. It doesn't even include a recipe. But if you're curious about making bread at home, but you want it to fit your real life, not take it over, then start there. The link is in the description. 5 minutes, your exact starting point. That's it. That's your next step. Pura vida, and we'll see you in the next video.